Good morning, everybody. Ivor Chester. Hi, music listeners. Thanks for your time. I continue to read more about music and the effects. I'm a licensed music therapist, certified music therapist, whatever music therapist, and been doing it for 25 years. And, had to do a lot of research when you go through the program. I did my internship at a VA hospital in Topeka, Kansas. Then you actually get your feet out into the actual business and you start running with it. And I started to see the actual physical effects, the mental effects, the outworking of what it is to be a music therapist. But I wanted to start getting into something more granular and as it actually happens in the day-to-day world. Here's the question for the day. What do you start your day with? I read a study that talks about music and the time of day. And it says to start your day with something with a big bass beat. Now, I'm really not the biggest fan of hip hop. There are elements of it I like. And same thing with metal. I'm not the biggest metal fan. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but there are times when I really like it. Having said that, there are studies that show listening to that kind of music at the right time of day can really improve your day. Get you motivated, yes, but also get you fired up and get you going. If I can read, this is from the MT-B.C. It's posted on my webpage if you want to read the article itself. It says, scientists found that listening to music you naturally enjoy releases dopamine, which is nothing new there, which feels good but decreases focus. Instead, researchers at Music Focusing Service, which is called Focus at Will, suggest stimulating your brain by listening to music that isn't your normal go-to, such as other people's playlists. You can, of course, go to other music sites and listen to other people's playlists. Why? Broaden your horizons. For quite a while, as I've later had a testimony, I had a niche of music that I was just listening to for a few years, and that's just not me. But with depression and bad choices and just doing the rut of life, I was really getting myself stuck in this rut. But I found that what helped that, it was listening to other people's playlists, listening to other kinds of music. People would suggest it. I would ask for it at the hospital. I said, what are y'all listening to? And it helped me kind of get in their heads. It's kind of like when my kids were young, I gave them a camera, very young. I gave them cameras so I could see what they were looking at, what they were focusing literally on. And it's also like with the brain. There was a study some time ago that talked about the difference between London cabbies and London bus drivers. And London cabbies had better problem-solving skills than the London bus drivers because just their jobs required them to kind of slalom through London's huge labyrinth of roads, some of them, 1,000 years old, to just manage their way through their jobs. All right, so that's what music does. It helps you to get out of the rut, especially if you get out of your normal to-go playlists. So try listening to something different. Also, I wanted to read this one bit. If you're having a crummy day, it's okay to wallow for a bit, okay? Have yourself a bit of a wallow, like, gosh, can you believe this? The idea, though, is that it's not a parking lot. I tell people, for example, who are grieving, that grief is not a parking lot. It's a road. You're not allowed to park there. So you have to continue to move on. Listening to sad music is actually healthy because it helps aid in psychologically processing those negative emotions. Facing up to your feelings rather than ignoring them is imperative to a well-rounded and healthy lifestyle. So listen to Adele's Pain, for example. It'll help you process it. But the trick is, when you're done, you're done. You take off those clothes, you take a shower, and you move on to something else because you're processing it. You're not parking. Okay, it's a total different thing. All right, and then so for the morning it's bass. The next phase, of course, is midday lunch, which is normally something upbeat to help you get past what they used to call the postprandial dip. And then to drive home, they tell you to listen to some rock, something upbeat. Again, you notice the upbeat thing. But they say with men to try and ratchet it down, to have something that's not quite so aggressive, because music is shown to affect men when they're driving and they get more tickets and have more collisions because of the music styles that they're listening to. Isn't that interesting? No, not really, because us guys already know, and probably our spouses do as well. I know my kids know. We were driving not too long ago on a freeway that was kind of backed up, and my son shouts from the back, put on that Alan Parsons song for Dad, we'll go fast. My wife was in the car, so, I got eye rolls. So, and then when it comes time for evening, again, no surprise here. If you're bored with classical music, maybe you ought to be listening to it at night, or at least meditational music. But you don't want something to stim. I have people that say they sleep with the radio. I don't. I have slept with some meditational music on, and it's okay. But people who sleep with rock and roll and upbeat or aggressive music when they sleep, it does show signs of sleep disturbances. All right, so my call to action for you, what I'd like to know is, what are you listening to? This morning, what I was listening to, I went ahead and listened to some Adele. I've not heard a whole lot of her stuff, even though she's this mega star, just not in my playlist. So I put on some of her. I also put on Copeland's Our Town, real change there. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, Anna, had me listen to some music that she's picking up on YouTube. It's like soundtracks, and I've been listening to that. So 3 different types of music, and I've got to go now and listen to something upbeat because 2 of those out of those 3 are kind of quiet, and I need to work it up. All right, friends, I want you to tell me what you're listening to, what's in your player, what's in your MP3, and how you're processing it. Also want to know how you're going to change it. Remember, you create these playlists and you change them often. It's kind of like diapers and politicians. There's a very good reason why you change your music up frequently for pretty much the same reason. All right. Thank you for your time. God bless. We'll speak to you soon.